What's up, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time. Sony's Spider-Man Cinematic Universe, whatever the hell they're even calling it, Sony Spider-Man Universe, the SSU, hit or miss. I mean, it's had its moments. I mean, obviously the Spider-Man movies have been pretty high quality. The rest of the stuff they put out, mixed bag. We'll call it a mixed bag because I don't want to be too mean to it. But Venom 3 is now out. The trilogy for Tom Hardy's Venom character is now complete. And we are here to break it down for you guys tonight with my head or life mate, Jeremy. What's up, brother?
Oh. I would say I had a fun time watching this movie, and I definitely didn't only watch the second one beforehand and still didn't remember a goddamn thing that happened. So there's that. But it was a fun movie. I don't understand. I meant to text you back and say, I don't know what all the hate was about. I didn't really see that much hatred toward this movie, but I was just like, okay, this is kind of cool. This is something that one of those universes, I guess, that I'm like, I want to see more of this because there's more to it. There's more symbiotes and shit like that. So, this was kind of exciting, and whatever it means for this so-called universe, or I don't know, because I don't know if they know what they're trying to do, because I sure as hell don't. But I'm just saying, if we're going to commit to something, commit to it. Because I was thinking the other day, I was like, weren't we restarting the DC thing, and then we had Blue Beetle, and then we just kind of fucked off and just never did anything else? So we're starting a lot of things here, but not capitalizing on it. But I don't think this is. We all know here this isn't really truly the end of anything that's ever based off of comic books. So, but fun movie nonetheless.
I don't know. Tex, what about you? In our conversations the last couple of days, you've already said that the dancing scene was clearly the best part of the movie for you. Give me some quick thoughts on Venom.
I will watch Halloween Ends twice before I ever watch this movie again. And I'm not even kidding. Y'all know how I feel about that shit.
And you will smile sweetly every time Laurie Strode comes on screen.
Lady
musical.
We'll
hang up
to
on
quote that. To quote a line from the movie that actually fits the situation very well. Lady Luck is a fickle slut, much like this movie.
Don't take my line, you little asshole. I will say that is a line that stuck out to me for the whole fucking movie, and I kept thinking about it, and I kept giggling to myself because that was so goddamn funny. I'm like, there's my line. There's my line.
It just, I don't want to, I'll keep my powder dry for once we get to these sections. But Jeremy couldn't see the hate. I saw nothing but hate. So we're on opposite sides of the force on this one. So, I went full Palpatine, but it is what it is.
Because one fucking song was in a goddamn movie, and it's like, nope, we can't like. I want to like anything that ever happened.
No, it's not just. No, it's not just. No, it's not just the.
Did you know?
It's not just the ABBA. I have others.
It's also a Christmas movie. Did you catch that? Did anyone else catch it? Because they were very fucking subtle with it.
To be completely honest, once I saw Venom prancing around like a $3 whore on Broadway, I mentally checked out. I did not care anymore, but it is what it is. So we'll get into it, I'm sure.
And of course, Shape from Lone Star State, our man Tex. We're obviously hitting the ground running on this review. There's a lot of very, very heavy, very guys here right now to break down this movie. I'll just go ahead and we'll get it started. I mean, you guys are going to hear my thoughts as we go on. Let's get into it right now. We are, of course, here to talk about Venom: The Last Dance. It is the 2024 American superhero film written and directed by Kelly Marcel, which features the Marvel Comics character Venom. This is a sequel to Venom and Venom, There Be Carnage. This is the fifth film in Sony's Spider-Man universe and the third and final installment of the Venom trilogy. It stars Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock and Venom alongside Chiwetel Ejiofor, Juno Temple, Rhys Ifans. Wow, that's a lot of names that I have trouble pronouncing. Stephen Graham, Peggy Lu, Clark Backo, Alanna Ubach, and Andy Serkis, who does the voice and motion capture for Null. New cast members, including Ejiofor and Temple, joined in the mid-2023. Filming began at the end of June of 2023 in Spain, but was halted a month later due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. It resumed that November after the strike ended. The film was completed at the end of February 2024. The title was revealed a month later. Venom: The Last Dance premiered at the Regal Times Square Theater in New York City on October 21st, 2024, and was released in the United States on October 25th. Like its predecessors, the film received mixed reviews from critics. It has so far grossed about $175 million worldwide against a budget of about $120 million. So it's still got some time left to become a clear financial success. On Rotten Tomatoes, 38% of 139 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of 4.7 out of 10. The website's consensus review reads, quote, "The always watchable Tom Hardy injects ample charisma into Venom: The Last Dance, but the offering buckles under its convoluted tonal ambitions." I kind of get it where it comes to the story, but I think some of the better aspects of the film are kind of overlooked. Let me. I mean, we've already gotten your guys' kind of initial thoughts on everything, but Jeremy, give me some quick thoughts before we dive into the spoiler stuff.
I just want to preface too, just in case anyone doesn't know, I'm pretty sure me and Tex both listened to Critical Drinker and that entire echo chamber, but I'm like, it's funny that we still have differing opinions on this movie. No, I'm like, I watched them and I love it, but I'm like, I love how you're like, yeah, he danced. Wasn't that the most retarded thing you've ever seen in your life? And they're like, we're not gonna talk about anything else. I'm like, okay, but like, can you mention anything else that ever happened in the movie? I know it's your job to be fucking negative all the goddamn time. Well, maybe Drinker less so, but Mahler, if you know who I'm talking about, any of the people on that panel.
I love Mahler. The long man, he's cool.
Mahler does have really good points sometimes, but I'm like, I feel like he literally is just never allowed to be positive about anything, even if it's the greatest movie in the world.
He's also English too, so they've been bitter since 1776. So they've been bitter for a long time. It is what it is.
Yes. He hated this movie because he lost the war like 200 years ago. That's what it is. and Ireland's got its own problems, so whatever. No, I kind of like this movie, but I something else I think they mentioned too in that circle was like, no one can remember anything about any of the Venom movies, and I was like, yeah, I watched There Be Carnage. I seriously don't either. I will agree with them on that. Or I'm like, I don't know what the hell happened. And I don't think that it's like there is kind of a story that overarcs all of these, but it's also just kind of like, yeah, that happened, but like this is now happening in this movie. Now this is happening in this movie, and this story is happening in this movie. It's like it doesn't really feel like it's one whole thing in a sense. I don't know. It's just like things keep happening, but like the main story is that like, you know, we have Venom and Eddie Brock just bopping around and still being pursued for, well, I would say for killing the damn detective, but that was quickly retconned, but whatever. Symbiotes. No, I think the thing that I was most excited about was the many different symbiotes that we did see, and that we got a very over-the-top, glorious CGI heavy fight of just a small army of symbiotes fighting these like alien things from that same void that Null lives in, that he's trying to get out of. And it was cool. I saw agony coming from a fucking mile away because I'm like, oh yeah, that's definitely her, isn't it? Oh look, there's a purple symbiote going in her pocket. I'm like, wow, cool. And something I agree with Rachel is that it feels like there was like no marketing for this movie. The only way I found out this was even happening is I was just walking through the theater to go see a different movie, and one of the posters up in the hallway of movies that were coming soon was this, and I was just like, well, when did that happen? When did that get announced? What the fuck? I didn't know we were making more Venom. Cool. And I went to go watch whatever I was watching, and it just felt like there was next to nothing. And then I saw a few trailers. So I'm going somewhere with this. I'm staring at Fortnite right now, and I'm like, Fortnite added She-Venom and Agony as characters. I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool. I don't know what that's about, but hey, that's pretty awesome. Apparently Epic and Fortnite knew something that none of us fucking knew, because all of a sudden she popped up in the movie. I was like, oh, well, I'm glad we didn't talk about that. That's why they were put in the game, and then they put Eddie Brock and Venom back in the Fortnite game. I was like, oh, we're marketing because this movie came out, and you didn't say a word about it. But yeah, I don't know.
People underestimate the importance of marketing a film properly.
Yeah, like
because there's been some really great movies that just went completely unknown for like 5-10 years, and then somebody like, then some asshole like me jumps on the internet and says this movie is actually pretty good. Then some people start to watch it and like, oh wait a minute, where the hell was this movie all my life? There's movies like Contact and stuff like that that made like bus fare in theaters. They were in theaters for like 15 minutes. And then people find them in secondary media. They're like, holy shit, this is actually an awesome movie. Yeah, but yeah, marketing is the key. And if you're not going to spend a lot of money marketing it, then whatever. But then again, if you market it and it sucks, which if you'd have over-marketed this movie and this movie would have underperformed the way it has, it probably would have done you a lot of harm. So maybe they were kind of worried about this whole thing not making a lot of money. So they're like, why are we going to spend $200 million marketing this? Let's just spend $50 million and we'll hope that we have a better return. But whatever. Tex, give me some quick thoughts.
Yeah, no, to kind of echo what Jeremy was saying there a minute ago, I do not. The only thing I remember about the first two Venom films was I liked Woody Harrelson as Carnage. Well, the idea of him, but you give us a PG-13 version of Venom and Carnage, which makes no sense whatsoever. I've said this the entire time. This is another one of those characters that needs to be rated R. We've got Deadpool, Wolverine. Why can't it be Venom as well? I remember nothing else about the franchise besides I hate how Tom Hardy plays Eddie Brock. I hate this jittery, kind of shaky, nervous all the time. That's not Eddie Brock. Eddie Brock, he loves the symbiote. It's perfect for him, and the way, especially with the way he does in this movie, just he constantly looks like he's got like a stick up his ass everywhere he goes. I hate how he plays in this movie. And Tom Hardy's a good actor. He's done a lot of good stuff, but yeah, I had no hope going into this movie. Like I said, I didn't remember anything going into it, and I didn't care to research it, which is rare for me. But at least give it a Google or something, and I didn't even do that. But I saw it, and I saw it, but I probably won't remember it long. So we better get this on camera now before I erase it from my memory. So, it's all good.
Before he hits the internal delete button on that whole file.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I really liked the first two movies. I thought the first one, I was one of those people when the first Venom movie came out, I was like, how can you have this character without Spider-Man? And then they did it, and I went to see it. Like, I'm curious as to how this is going to work. And it surprisingly was very good. Second movie, not quite as good, but still pretty good, pretty enjoyable. This movie, a lot of people are saying the movie is not very good, but it's the best of the trilogy. I don't really understand. I don't know if those people actually watched the other films or if they just watched like 4 or 5 scenes and were like, I've gotten all I want out of this movie. I think that while this movie was not bad, neither was it good. It has a lot of problems. But I don't think it was the best of the trilogy. I still think the first one is the one that works the most. The second one had a couple issues out of hand. I mean, I love the fact that they had Carnage and they had Cassidy and all that. But I would have handled it a little bit differently. This one, I mean, honestly, it doesn't work for a couple of reasons. There's scenes that work. There's a lot of really cool moments, but they weren't put together the right way. A lot of really great pieces of a puzzle. It just doesn't look quite right when you put it all together. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I think of it. But let's get down to the deeper discussions now. First time director, someone who's been around this franchise from its inception, Kelly Marcel finally gets a chance. I go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the job that she did in this movie?
I don't think she understands time and place well when it came to this film. It's like we start out in Mexico. Oh, well, we need to go here. Jump to an airplane. Oh, here's that creature. Oh, it just happens to pop out of nowhere. Now we're in Vegas. Now we're here. Now we're there. There's something to be said for a timeline of events in a film as far as locations go whenever you're trying to make it feel like you're in part of the movie. And it's like this is one of those movies where they ask the question and automatically they give you the answer. They give no time for build up. They jump from point A to point F. And I didn't realize she was a first time director. Knowing that now, it kind of shows and makes sense of a few things. But the action was fine. Nothing offensive or it's neither offensive or extraordinary. It's just kind of there. It's okay. But, I mean, to give her the benefit of the doubt, she probably did the best that she was working with on a limited, scale of, talent to fall back on being a newbie, but I maybe give her like a C. Nothing. I'm not gonna fail her for this, but I'm never gonna watch this again. I'm not gonna lie.
Jeremy, what about you? Again, first-time directors, sometimes they miss really bad, but every now and again, you get one that hits a home run. I feel like this is probably somewhere kind of in between, like Tech said. What do you think of Kelly Marcel's first directorial debut?
I mean, what a hell of a movie to start on, honestly. So,
right. Oh.
If someone gave me a first time directing a movie and you're like, here, you're going to direct a Venom movie, I'd be like, holy shit. I don't know what I'm doing, but okay.
And allegedly the last Venom movie too. So tell the end of this story. Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah, true. You gotta like close this out somehow. But like I said, as we know, it's not ever really the end.
It's never.
I will say fuck you for twisting the knife even more and opening up with, hey, you remember when he was a part of the Marvel Universe? And then we said, nope. So please stop fucking showing me that. I'm still mad about it.
We'll get to that scene in a minute. We'll get to that scene in a minute.
Why did you even put it in there? Like, we know that happened. I mean, if you're still hanging on the joke that, like, yeah, we don't remember what the hell happened in the last movie. I'm like, right, he popped up in there, and I think that maybe was from the Spider-Man movie, right? Like from No Way Home, maybe, and then he just blips back to the Sony verse, as it were, whatever. And to be fair, it is funny. The first thing he says is like, "All right, I'm done with this multiverse bullshit." I'm like, yeah, I feel you, dude.
I agreed with that line. I did appreciate
like, if
you're
gonna keep jerking him around, like I would just be done with it.
Yeah.
Just make up your mind. But to give us something like I said, that now we're kind of, like I said, it feels like it was setting up Null as like another big bad, which I mean I would be okay with. Again, whatever this movie, whatever universe this sits in, I think it was pretty cool. And again, I love expanding it into more, because I'm like, there are other symbiotes, there are other versions of these things out there, and to see this kind of almost little mini war breakout here of them trying to track down Venom and Eddie, that was pretty cool. So it's kind of a cool idea, and it's like I think even Tom Hardy was like a writer and like a producer on this, so it's not like you're just, this is all on your shoulders. So, and that's what I was saying. It's, if I had something like this, I'm like, I would be wanting input from people who probably understand it a little better. But it did. I mean, I agree with Tex. It was like, it was a weird road trip movie, but I'm like, I mean, it is how a road trip movie works. Whatever. We just kind of bopped around like the Southwest for a while. I don't know.
Even the good road trip movies kind of establish, like, if you're going to be a road trip film, you need to expand on that more. Not jump from big location, big location, big location. Oh, the weird knockoff xenomorph thingy, just jumps from where we were in Mexico to the wing of an airplane, God knows how far away. And by the way, Venom's a good guy, a good guy hero, right? All of those people on that airplane just crashed and died, right? Like, or was I imagining that? Like, that engine clearly exploded.
Well, yeah, but you can still emergency land that plane somewhere. I'm like, some people probably did die, but not. And
I think they mentioned in passing that the plane landed, so I don't think anyone in the plane was hurt.
And with the alien, I'm like, it is kind of goofy that like the second they transform back into Venom and then like it's just teleported right there. I'm like, okay, I appreciate you showing me it like searching and then finding them, but I'm like, you're just teleporting there. And I'm like, but we're talking about interdimensional fucking aliens. Sure, I don't care. Maybe who cares? It is a little goofy and it's just to move the movie along. I understand. But I mean, now you do make up for it with the fact that when these things eat a human or even eat a symbiote and it just like turns into a fucking like wood chipper and it comes out of their neck as a spray of blood.
That was cool. I like that.
I was like, oh, okay. They can do that. That's gnarly. Okay. Well, these things are terrifying. Like crap. I mean, it gave a cool sense of like, not dread. What am I trying to think of? Like, that it's like, okay, but what do you do against these? They can just pull themselves back together, even if they've been dismembered or blown up, or they seem kind of armored, but you can shoot them. You know, it's like you can't kill these things, and they seem unstoppable. So I'm like, damn, what? How are you supposed to deal with this? I get the point that it was like, oh well, they have to. One of them has to die. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's. I was like, kind of obvious which one's gonna die. I was like, I mean, if he died, I was like, well, that closes that out. But I didn't think they were gonna do that. I'm like, you can always bring these symbiotes back. It doesn't really matter. And it's not like these things have ever attached to just like one person, really, in general. Especially the Guardian symbiotes that we all kind of saw there for a minute. Like they attached to whoever. So I don't know.
I don't know.
Cool idea.
Yeah, to me, I was like, I'm glad that she got the chance to direct something. Look, if she got a chance to direct something she's been in on from the beginning. Like I said, mostly writing credits. She wrote 50 Shades of Grey, for whatever that's worth for all the females out there watching that actually watched that movie. I have not.
I'm sure all the wine moms loved it.
She did write all 3 Venom movies, so she's been in this particular character since its inception. This brand of the character, the Tom Hardy version of this character, since its inception. But she also, as a writer, she wrote Saving Mr. Banks, which on the Hollywood blacklist back several years ago. It ended up getting made into a movie that got Tom Hanks, as I recall, another Oscar nomination because he's Tom Hanks. And was actually, I never actually saw it, and I've heard that P.L. Travers' family was not particularly fond of it, that it wasn't entirely accurate. But for being the kind of feel-good movie that Disney has made its money off of, for basically 100 years now, I've heard it was very, very good. So, and she's got some other television writing credits and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, for a first-time director, there were some holes, obviously. I think they wanted Andy Serkis to come back and do this one, but he had to decline to come back because he's working on his movie version of Animal Farm, the book, and he's really wrapped up in doing that because that's supposed to come out next year. So he didn't really think himself having the time to do this movie and then go into that one. But obviously he does play the mocap and the voice for Null, so he is still involved in it. And I'm sure that she probably talked to him about some creative stuff. But look, for a first time out, I don't think it was a bad job. I mean, I'd like to say my first time directing a $120 million movie that has a lot of expectations riding on it, that I would do a decent job like this. My problem is not that they picked her, it's that they picked someone untried for a movie that in and of itself needs to stick the landing for this whole trilogy. And more importantly than that, needs to set the stage for another movie that you hope to do well, and that's Kraven, which comes out like next month.
Yeah.
So... or December, whenever the hell it comes out. It comes out soon. It comes out before the end of the year.
December, I think.
And a lot of people were talking the lead up to this movie. They're like, if this movie blows really bad, it's not just going to suck for this movie in the box office. People are going to lose a lot of faith in whatever they do for Kraven. And if you want to keep trying to make this Spider-Man universe happen for Sony, you've got to start hitting a couple of home runs here. And you're not really hitting a lot of home runs right now. Morbius was not good. Madam Web was just awful. There's not a whole lot good about that movie at all.
I may have a way to save the Sony Spider-Man universe. Hang on, guys. Are you ready? Listen, I'm going to scoot up to this. Introduce Spider-Man into the Spider-Man universe. Crazy thought. Don't know if it'll work.
This is a Sony versus Marvel problem.
I get them wanting to establish these characters first. But, I mean, the problem is, it's like, one of the things they did that's kind of screwed Morbius over was, the trailers all had these references to Spider-Man, and then you get in the movie, and there is no reference to Spider-Man at all. You would never know these universes connected, and you don't even get really a cursory one until the post-credit scene where you see Michael Keaton's Vulture roll up, and then you're like, wait a minute, you guys aren't even in the same universe. What are you doing here? He went there but didn't go back when everybody else blipped back. I don't understand how any of that shit worked.
He seemed confused. He's like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm sure it has something to do with Spider-Man. I was like, okay, but are you going to explain that at all?
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's not like there's 3 live-action on-screen Spider-Man they could pick from to put in this universe.
They actually
just
can't.
Say it.
They actually can't. It's going to have to be Tom.
Okay, well, then bring up the fucking animated version and multiverse that shit into live-action. There's something that can be done.
Per their because they've been talking about this a lot the last few days. Per the agreement that Sony has with Marvel, they cannot have a separate Spider-Man universe or franchise going while they are working with Marvel. So they can't just bring Andrew Garfield. They can't just bring him back and have him be the one that deals with this new version of Venom that was left wherever or whatever.
It's not like they could
in that universe.
And then Tobey Maguire comes in here. He's like, "Wow, you don't look like Topher Grace at all. What the hell happened?"
Yeah,
it's not like they don't have a whole Spider-Verse movies worth of Spider-Man they could pull from and say that's that universe, and there's ways to do it. It's just, I don't know why they haven't done it.
There's ways to do it. Contractually, there isn't. They have to get Marvel's permission, and Marvel doesn't want to murky the waters by doing basically what DC's doing and having 12 different Batman running around this big screen. That's something I said was not a very good idea anyway, but whatever.
Or maybe you could finally give us a live action version of like Miles Morales or something, or like
I think they're gonna end up doing that when Tom Holland's done.
I believe it. I could say I feel like
he's not Spider-Man. He's not Spider-Man to me. That's Peter Parker, but it's a different conversation.
But let's talk about the cast now, and basically, it's there's only two people in this movie that really matter. I mean, there was good performances, there was good moments, but I mean, this entire movie is all about Eddie and Venom, which it should have been. Granted, I would have done the whole thing a lot different. I would have presented it differently, but yeah, the whole movie is basically the last ride of Eddie and Venom. I'll go to you first, Tex. What do you think of the cast? Did it work out well for you, or who stood out the most?
Well, it's like I said earlier, I don't like how Tom Hardy plays Venom. If you look at any portrayal of this character, he's strong. He embraces it. He's not this weird, shaky kind of guy that's just like nervous. It's like he has a nervous tick all the time. I've never liked how he's played Eddie Brock. The rest of the cast this kind of felt like the early Fox superhero movies. And I'm not talking the X-Men, but like the Daredevils and the Elektra, that era of superhero film where they were just kind of figuring things out. Nobody in the cast really stood out for me in this one. I mean, I guess the blonde doctor was good. I mean, she really chewed a lot of scenery and kind of carried a lot, the non-Eddie Brock, emotional weight of the movie, it seemed. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the guy that plays the army general or whatever, the black guy, he's the guy from Doctor Strange, right? Yeah. He's the same dude, right?
Yeah, same guy.
I thought so. Okay. I thought he looked familiar. I was like, they could make a real funny multiverse joke about him hunting down, the doctor, or whatever. That could have been fun, but there was nobody that really stood out for me. I don't know. It was, I guess, the Mexican guy that attended bar at the beginning of the movie. How he goes from, all my family died for 5 years, and then 2 seconds later he's got long hair, and he's like, "What are you talking about, drunko?" and whatever. He was good, but besides him, I didn't care for anybody in this movie. It was just whatever.
I don't know, Jay. What do you think? What do you think of the cast and who stood out?
I think they quit giving a shit about like actors playing other characters in this series, because I was like, I saw the general. I was like, wasn't he in Doctor Strange? Didn't they try to set him up to be a bad guy? I'm like, okay. Also, let's also not forget that Russell Crowe is playing Kraven's dad, and I'm like, he was also fucking Zeus. I'm like, are we just gonna keep ignoring this shit? Like,
and he was Superman's dad. Really jumping multiverse.
They did it in DC a little bit too, but it was like it's a little different. Like the guy that was Stryker was also the bad guy in. He was Ares in Wonder Woman. I was like, that's different universes, but that's still funny. I don't know. That's a weird thing to note. Well, you know what? Fucking RDJ is Doctor Doom now, and maybe possibly totally not, but maybe again Iron Man. I don't fucking know anymore. I don't think they know. I don't think they really care. Where the money comes in. Yeah. Oh God, I don't know. Like cast wise, I don't know. I know I've seen the guy who played the like hippie dad who wants to go to Area 51. I know I've seen him before because he's been in a number of things. I don't remember his name. I don't have a tab open.
Well, he has been in another Spider-Man movie.
Oh, for fuck's
Which
sake.
one?
Where was he?
That's Rhys Ifans. He played Dr. Connors in the second Andrew Garfield movie.
Oh, an Andrew Garfield movie.
Oh.
No, I thought it was the first.
Or was it the first one?
The first one had.
In the Andrew Garfield movies, he played Dr. Connors.
The first one was
okay.
Yeah. So. Huh. Yeah, see, this is getting this. See? You're getting really weird with me here on this bit. Maybe he gave up his college degree and decided to go out on the road and be a hippie. I don't fucking know.
Or maybe he just
Well, he went for
role.
Look, man,
Right.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of liked, and again, I saw it coming a mile away when they had the obvious name of like, oh, her name is Dr. Payne. I'm like, oh, she's gonna be Agony, isn't she? If I see a little purple symbiote going around somewhere in a tube, and I'm like, there it is.
Yeah, but
Well, that's obvious as hell.
they didn't even get Agony's powers right from the comics, though. That's another thing that bugged me.
No,
Like, if you're gonna do the character, at least get the. Don't just take the appearance and name, port the whole thing over. You know what I mean? I mean, like, to me,
to be fair,
it's just that little kind of stuff that bugs me. I don't know.
She's not like too huge in the. I mean, she's part of like I said, the Guardians.
No, I don't know. It's just, and I know it's nitpicky, and I'm getting all well actually nerdy about this. But if you're gonna if you're gonna do the character. I mean, could you imagine? Like, okay, we're making a Batman movie, but he can fly and has a red cape. But he's Bruce Wayne. He's Batman, but he can fly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like there was. I mean, there's supposed to be a little bit more story there with her, but I was like, and she was Agony for about 3 seconds, and I was like, oh, okay, well, that was it. I don't know.
Yeah, I have look. Obviously, this entire movie was going to center around Tom Hardy and Venom, and the character and everything. That's fine. I was okay with him carrying most of the movie. I'm going to give you an opinion right now that both you guys are going to hate. You're going to disagree with, but I really feel like this would have made the movie better. If you'd have made the movie 20 minutes longer, and actually fleshed this character out more, I think that would have made this big reveal, this moment, would have made that a lot cooler.
That's what I was starting to say. I was like, I feel like they didn't really do much with her. They were just like, yeah, she had a brother, he died. Okay, now she's Agony for about 4 seconds. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I don't understand.
On.
I don't understand why you beef her up to be so important. You give her that little. You go through that whole little flashback thing of her and her brother, which I was like, okay, this explains where she comes from, and then she's almost completely insignificant to the rest of the movie until the last 10 minutes.
Just even
then, it's not her character that is significant. It's just her physical presence being there, being the human being that is standing there at this time. Is what is important. Her story doesn't mean anything until you get to this visual, and you're like, oh, lightning, what happened to her at the beginning of the movie, yada yada yada. It makes sense. Now, like Tex, I mean, I understand that she's not exactly comic book accurate, but I mean, I don't need it to be comic book accurate. I mean, comic book and movies are not the same thing. They're not direct adaptations. I'm okay with them tinkering with it a bit, especially because this is a pretty cool fucking visual. As I was watching that movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I'll say this.
I can mess with that. But it's that's one of my biggest problems with the cast is that they have some good characters in there, including the girl behind her, played by Clark Backo, who played Sadie Christmas. It's like she has a presence through the entire movie that I feel like is always going to amount to something else. But when she does finally turn into the actually I think it's Toxin. But when she does finally get taken over by a symbiote, and she has her look, and the symbiote goes through all the stuff with her. It's just kind of lost in the fray of everything that's happening, that big battle at the end of the movie. You don't get to experience this character being awesome. It just happens. And so you had these two characters in there that I thought were pretty good, but they were just an absolute fucking waste. Now, the one that I did think was interesting is the one that they never actually identify over the course of the movie. And I couldn't find a good picture of it because the movie's still young. Can't find pictures of a lot of this stuff. The underground guy who's running this whole whatever the hell this project is, who's standing there watching all the TV screens, the one that Chiwetel Ejiofor actually calls into to that he's obviously communicating with. Who the fuck is that guy? Because there's something interesting that I noticed. Reed Scott who plays the boyfriend of what's his name's ex-wife of Tom Hardy's ex-wife in the first two movies, isn't in this movie. However, he's in the cast listing. So and you can, and I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but on the mailbox as they're pulling into Area 51, that black mailbox, that's actually a real thing. It's out there in the desert. It's called the black box, I think is what it's called. It's kind of like people go there and put their stickers on it and shit like that, whatever. One of the stickers on there, it was added by CGI. It says it said something like "Bring back" or "Free Doctor." I forget the name of the guy from the first movie, the crazy dark like fucking Elon Musk, Tim Cook wannabe that was trying to turn everybody into a symbiote to help mankind survive. Was like bring him back. So and he was working for that guy in the first movie. So a lot of people think that even though it doesn't identify him in the movie, that was him. Also, something, I don't know if you guys noticed it or not. I don't even know why I looked. It looked like he was barefoot.
Did you ever show him below the? I was like, I just thought
it shows him.
I don't remember anything.
It shows him standing there one time. It shows him standing there one time. It shoots him from the back, and you can see him standing there full frame. Yeah. I couldn't. Maybe it was just lighting. Maybe I'm seeing things. Maybe it was just a fuzzy spot in the camera, and it was absolutely nothing. But I looked at it. I was like, is he barefoot? I don't. Like I said, I could be wrong. Maybe he's wearing shoes. I just don't know it. Maybe it was just weird lights. But I was like, is he barefoot? One, and if he is, why? But yes, he is.
The funny.
I think even refers
maybe
to
Frank's lingering too much on From Dusk Till Dawn. We're still on Tarantino. He's thinking about feet, and he's like, wait a minute, you got
The funniest tweet I saw about that was somebody, I guess, took a picture in the theater or something, and they put it next to the guy in the hat from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man 2 from the end of that movie that never gets revealed about who are these people. They did it like, these people are missing, have you identified these people or whatever kind of thing. Who knows who it is? I'm sure it's some overarching villain within the Sony Spider-Man universe, whatever, who knows. Maybe it's Spider-Man's dad. Why not? I mean, Spider-Man's not here. Let's just play with it a little bit. Who knows? But I doubt we ever find out who it is. And even if it's revealed, I don't think a lot of people are going to care, if I'm being totally honest with you.
Well, I mean, it's going to depend a lot on the future of the of whatever we're going to get from this from here on out. We'll talk about the future of whatever may be coming from this movie, because while it definitely serves as an end for Venom, it does not necessarily serve as an end for the universe. But we'll get to that later on. Let's talk about the plot now. I mean, Null, great bringing him in. How everything happens in the movie. I mean, I thought the plot was pretty decent. I don't know. Jay, what do you think? What do you think about the plot? Did it work for you, or would you have changed something?
Well, I know it's all of a sudden there's this BS MacGuffin that came out of nowhere that totally existed the entire time that this guy wants now to be able to unprison himself. I'm like, well, that was really convenient, wasn't it? I don't know. I feel like
some might say barely an inconvenience whatsoever.
Right. As if an inconvenience isn't the fact that you have to die. It's cool. I mean, like I said, I was more interested in that's a cool shot. As I was gonna say, I was kind of interested in Null, but I'm like, oh, okay, we could really get some cool stuff with him, even though he was in the movie for about like a total of 20 seconds. But it was cool to see, and I'm like, if that's where we're going, I was interested in seeing it. And I knew what it just apparently being the last one of this trilogy. I was like, well, I know where this ultimately ends, but like what we're doing along the way is kind of what I'm interested in. If we're setting other things up, like I said, we have all these other symbiotes that are out there now. So we could have some sort of some symbiote conflict with Null. I don't know how he plans on getting out now, because I don't know if we want to spoil end credits yet, but that was a pretty badass mid-credit scene, to be honest. And I think the end credits is what gets you your little like, hey, there could be more. Like, yeah, there will be. It's never over. I thought it was kind of fun. It's just them trying to, you know what? It's really just it's a story of him trying to just do his buddy a solid. He just wanted to go see the Statue of Liberty, but we never got there. I mean, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I like the plot. I mean, this idea of some otherworldly thing. I mean, because you got to kind of ratchet it up. So you go from this psychotech billionaire who has nefarious intentions in the first movie to another symbiote in the second movie. Why not go to the creator of all symbiotes in this movie? I mean, it makes sense. That said, I mean, I know they have plans for Null in the future. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But I would like to have seen like Venom and Null kind of throw hands at least once in this movie. I mean, here's one of the things I don't like about how they handled this film in particular while introducing Null. It's, you say you're going to introduce Null. You already know this is going to be the last film for Tom Hardy and Venom. So why let him Null bookend the film just to show his appearance and not let him and Eddie kind of throw hands a little bit? It's like you don't have to have Venom and Eddie kill him. Like they could do kind of like what happens to the three people from Superman. It's like he gets put back in the void or whatever. They push him back to the void, and then you could find some way to, spoiler alert, kill Venom in the end so he can't get to the Codex anymore. I mean, it seemed like a bit of a wasted opportunity not to have him on screen actually doing some shit, and just to have him sitting on the throne of darkness the whole time for a few minutes at the beginning of the movie. Great opening, by the way. I mean, it really kind of got me invested in what was eventually the movie. And then like in the middle where you see him kind of sending more of those crazy bio wood chippers down there to start killing people again. And then the very end of the cutscene, which was pretty cool, but I'm like, you should have made him a bigger part of the movie. If this really is the last dance, go balls out. That's one of my problems ultimately with the movie, is that I think they really tried to play it safe. I'm like, you don't go safe in the last movie. It's like you don't go safe in Endgame. you put everybody out there in the battlefield and let them go. I mean, let them have this big battle that you've been building up to. So you're building up to this thing about this guy who's after you to get this codex so he can free himself and destroy the world, whatever. And you don't even let him come down here and take a couple of swipes at Eddie and Venom himself. That seems kind of like a wasted opportunity. That would have made the third act a lot better. So yeah, maybe they find some way to get all these other aliens and shit into the acid bath. But you still have to deal with Null somehow. You could have made all that work if you'd have given it, another couple of weeks of good writing and really kind of worked that out. And they didn't. Again, just maybe rookie director, maybe the fact that Sony just wanted to put the movie out, whatever it may be, just a missed opportunity. You know what I mean? I feel like you could have done more to introduce him and how dangerous he is in the universe without killing him. But I mean, to have him in the movie for a grand total, like what Jeremy said, I think it was like 7 minutes of screen time he gets, and it's really most of it's in the beginning of the movie to the post-credit scene. He's got about 5 seconds right there in the third act where you see him, and all he's doing is opening a door so more of those things can get through. So he just waves a hand. He doesn't really throw a punch or anything. It's like, come on, give me a hint as to how dangerous this guy is, so that when the final credits roll in this movie, I can be like, I really kind of want to see Null go up against whoever now, a Spider-Man or Sinister Six, because I read the other day they still want to do a Sinister Six at Sony. I think they just need to let that shit go. And
so.
I mean, I'd watch if they did it, but I'm like, at this point, I'm like, come on, you guys have been trying for a while now, and you keep fucking it up. So maybe just kind of let Marvel quarterback this and just kind of cash the checks. But I don't know. Like I said, I like the plot overall, but there was a lot of missed opportunities. Not, again, it's one of those things I talk about all the time. Great ideas, not great executions. Great premises, but poor presentation. And that's kind of that, to me. That's kind of the story of this movie. Still enjoyed it, but I didn't walk out like floating. You know what I mean? Like I would out of a good Star Wars movie or the first three phases of most of the first three phases of Marvel. I didn't walk out like really, really happy. I walked out like, meh, it was a movie. I'll watch it when it hits streaming again. I really doubt I'm going to go see it in the theaters again, but I'll watch it when it's streaming again. But
a good
whatever.
Star Wars movie. Excuse me. The last good Star Wars movie was in 2005 with Revenge of the Sith.
No, I still say
20 years.
There's only 6 Star Wars movies. That's all.
I still say the first of the new trilogy is very good. Other ones, there's definitely a quality drop off for the last two. But the first one was very good.
Yeah,
but,
Last Jedi and whatever I don't know what the fuck it was called now.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know. As far as the plot goes,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
They should have completely cut the whole Vegas scenes in this movie. The best parts of this movie happen within Area 51. They should have started this movie in Mexico. You can do all the same stuff.
Tex, you're bringing up an interesting point that I want to touch on since we're here. The Vegas scene. I get him being in Vegas. Vegas is a 2-hour drive from Area 51. Being in that area, I get it. What they did in Vegas, and look, I know, Tex, we were talking earlier, you don't like the whole scene, the whole dancing thing. I get it. I think it was
They literally did a last dance. I don't understand. They did the thing.
I think it was a very funny, very fun, very goofy scene. And I think it was extremely unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't know why we were doing that. Because he even says, like, why did you transform, you idiot? Now they're going to find us.
I feel like the whole purpose of this, of most of what happens in Vegas, is so you can get to Miss Chan again and give her gratuity.
It's all made. That's all it's there for. It serves no purpose.
I was like, if you're going to have Miss Chan in there, make her. If you're going to have her as a cameo, that's fine. She's one of the funnier. She's most of the comic relief from the first couple of movies. Mm-hmm. I get it. And she's one of the people who knows about Eddie and Venom's relationship, and she's friends with both of them. Venom obviously has an affinity for her, which is really kind of fun to see. And that's what makes the scene in itself fun, but in the scope of the entire movie was completely pointless and needless. And the only reason it's in the movie is to show Miss Chen's cameo. I was like, you couldn't have worked it a bit more naturally than that.
It's such a tonal shift in the movie, though. Like, I mean, okay, the whole point of this was Venom can't be complete with Eddie because then the xenomorph wood chipper thingy will find them immediately and then kill them, right? Mm-hmm. So, that's why he has to walk back to America. I mean, literally, I lost my shoes again, blah, 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 the whole thing. They completely throw out the plot line just to freaking prance around a dancing queen for a comedic, isn't that funny? Like, you throw away everything you've done story-wise for that one scene. And then we're out of Vegas because the military shows up and boom, we're at Area 51. All of the best scenes in this movie happen within Area 51. You start the movie in Mexico, have Eddie go with the hippie family on the run, have him go with them to Area 51. Everything else can still take place, still have your little bits of Noel, whatever. And you've got a better movie. And how much money would you save not shooting Vegas and everything else? My biggest gripe with these films is the comedy. They go too hard into it. This isn't Spider-Man one-liner quippy. This is supposed to be dark Venom. And I just don't like how they play the comedy in these movies. I've never liked it. And they went way overboard with it in this one. And it was just, it didn't work. You're talking about, 20 more minutes for the explanation of agony. Fine. I'll give you your 20 minutes. Take out the Vegas stuff. That would have been the argument that I would have put up for that. But
I think
this movie is just a mess. So
you could segue into Area 51 with that. Give her a little more fleshed out. I was going to say, I think the only thing that really that closes out with is that the military takes him away. I'm like, you still could have done that, because the only thing that was the most unbelievable fucking part of this movie is that this fucking hippie family just waltzes the fuck into Area 51 Even if you're going to tell me it's being decontaminated, you don't just waltz the fuck in there. You would have been caught on fucking spot.
Well,
and put, like I'm saying, there's where you introduce the military. If you would have kept Eddie with the family, like Tex said, like they could have all got like caught and arrested by the military and taken in there. That segues you into them getting caught and then being split like that.
Well, look, okay, let's
Dr. Payne more. I mean, you know,
let's think about it.
What the hell?
What happens in the Vegas scenes? Eddie gets pissed on. He knocks the guy out, steals his suit. He breaks his foot on the gambling machines. He runs into Miss Chen. They do the little dancing queen nonsense. And then the military shows up. And that completely derails the entire tone of what's going on in this movie. And, you know, it's one thing to have like a short comedic joke to break up tension. I get that. But you don't do a whole segment within the movie. And this, I think, goes back to the first time director thing of she hasn't quite learned that yet. And I you know, for all of this Venom should be treated more seriously. I mean, he is a lethal threat to Spider-Man. You know, you don't play him off as a joke. That's just always been my biggest gripe with these movies. I don't like how they do it.
The amazing coincidence that, like, when the hippie family drops him off in Vegas, I'm like, oh, okay, well, that was a fun time, wasn't it? And then 20 minutes later in the movie, they just happen to meet up again. I'm like, okay, that's a little, there's no way.
Right.
They just happened to meet up again. I'm like, you could have stayed with them and you could have had a reveal of, like, you know, maybe they were about to get into trouble. And all of a sudden, like, to save the family and save the kid that he just bonded with her with this little short trip, he turned into Venom real quick. And then he had to be like, hey, so awkward story, kid. I mean, like, I'm actually kind of an alien, so I have this alien living on me.
That right there.
You know what I mean? You could have made that.
The family's whole goal was, well, Dad's whole goal was to see an alien. The son was scared of seeing an alien. He didn't want to see one. This movie, they should have done a true road trip movie. Keep him with that hippie family, just like you said a minute ago, all the way to Area 51, and have one big reveal, like, you know, Eddie has to transform into Venom. The son sees, oh, not all aliens are bad. Dad gets his payoff. And then everything else in the end can play out the same. You just ex-nay that Vegas part completely. You can have agony more, and it's a better movie. I probably would have liked it at that point. Because I actually enjoyed the hippie dad. I thought he was kind of fun. But, you know, we got to get our Vegas crap in. I don't know. I think it's
objectively seeing one of probably like the scariest looking aliens in like any of these symbiotes, and the kid was just like, oh, okay, maybe he's not really a bad guy, but goddamn, he's terrifying.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. How cool of a payoff would it have been if, you know, Noel sent down his xenomorph wood chippers and Eddie says, oh, or Venom says we have to transform, or, you know, whatever. And he's standing there next to the kid, and save that "we are Venom" line that they always do, that they did in this movie, but have him say it to the kid where he can still see the human side of him while he's smiling. That could have been something cool, but it's just, I don't know. This is all over the place.
Maybe the wood chipper could have been like starting to attack the tower, and then like in order to save them, he had to transform again and like stop it. Like that would have been cool.
Right? Yeah.
It worked.
Yeah. Something.
But let's talk about what's coming. This may be the end of you know, this version of Eddie Brock and Venom, but there is definitely some stuff out there that is going to happen. I'll go to you first, Jay. Null is going to be a part of the Spider-Man universe moving forward, maybe even the MCU. I don't know how they're going to work that out. But you know, obviously there are some big questions that still need to be answered. This movie does not answer a lot of them outside of, you know, Venom being dead and Eddie now being a normal person again, not having to be on the run from the law or anything. Where do you see this thing going in the future? What do you think the future looks like with Null and another symbiote that is going to at some point take the stage?
They did kind of Tom Holland him a little bit, where they're like, here, now you have a clean slate, now you can go be about your day. You know, you got to do. I mean, it's a little weird. I don't think the government would have also just been like, the general turns around like, oh, by the way, but if you tell anybody, I'm going to throw you in the deepest, darkest hole that you'll never see the light of day again. I'm like, they're not just going to let him waltz out of there with that. Like,
I would have been like, well, that stands to reason, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's pretty obvious. I wouldn't say a word about it, but I'm like, I don't know if they would just let him go freely. I mean, I don't know. It's cool to, like I said, they kind of separated the two, and he did the final thing for his friend, even though he didn't really get to see it. He went to New York to see the Statue of Liberty, which was cool. I also did not expect this movie to end with a Maroon 5 song, so there was that. Thanks for that. Yeah, I don't know, because I was waiting for. It's been a minute since some of these movies that I've seen in theaters had an end credit scene. I always check to make sure, and they're like, "Yeah, there's two." Oh, okay, sweet. Let's see what we got here. And admittedly, again, I'm like, I do want to see more of Null. I mean, at least something to get me, excited about it. And I thought that was a cool mid-credit scenes where I'm like, yeah, that can't be like his only out. I mean, there's obviously other venues he could probably go down to get free and do what he wants to do. But to see him like in this whole movie, you see him like with his face down, his hair just hanging down in front of his face. And to see him like pop up and like look right at the audience and be like, he's like, I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna destroy your world. And he looks up, he's like, and you're gonna watch. I was like, holy shit, that was cool. That's terrifying. What you got for the end credits? I'm like, oh, that age-old joke of, yeah, well, of course the cockroaches don't die because they never die. And I figured like, yeah, there had to be something with, yeah. So with the with the bartender that they just kind of took away, and I mean, I'm like Tony Stark, and I'm like, you thought I didn't notice, but I did. I'm like, no, there's something to that. Like, why'd they take him just because he was a witness? I'm like, there's something more to this guy. And he like comes out of the cave at the end after that whole madness goes down with the symbiotes fighting the which I guess we're now going to keep calling them the xenomorph wood chippers, which I think is a great.
Hey, I love that name. Xenomorph wood chipper. Yeah.
Take credit because that was a good one. So he calls out being the only person who seemingly survived, again, other than the little cockroach that you just see go up to like one of the broken vials that had a symbiote, and he kind of like twitches at it. I'm like, we didn't see which one it was, or at least I didn't. I didn't notice like a particular symbiote around it. But I'm like, well, they can latch onto anything. So I assume maybe this thing is going to latch onto this cockroach, which would be a hilarious symbiote looking thing. And maybe it'll attach to the bartender because now he's the only one. Again, assuming that he's the only one left. Because I don't really see what happened to the rest of them. So I don't know. I still think there was a setup for Agony, but I'm like, maybe if we do, unless it was to maybe set up that we're going to flesh that out more in a movie, maybe not necessarily a solo movie, but like something. Because she, again, seems to be the one person who knows, who was running this whole lab that was, I mean, I don't know if you're going to ever explain how the hell she got like 5 of them, but okay. Unless there's something I don't remember from these movies, I don't know. Maybe that's where we go. Just something with because these symbiotes were the ones that rebelled against Null and like imprisoned him. So I'm like, there's gonna be some throwdown with them and him and his little wood chippers in the end. So maybe something that go to that avenue.
I don't know. Tex, what do you think? Again, Venom, Eddie Brock, their story has ended, but there's still a lot of balls in the air at the end of this movie, especially after the post-credit scenes. Where do you think they go from here with Null, with the little pieces of the Venom symbiote that are still floating around, even though it might be in a different universe? Where do you think they go from here?
Well, I think that whole line of symbiote shedding that they use in the bar in Mexico was done intentionally because, I mean, I don't think they ever state how much of the symbiote has to be there to replenish itself. There's your easy way to bring Venom back. It's not hard to do.
I don't think,
You know, I mean,
I don't think that the mass of the symbiote matters, because if you remember in that scene where they're
Right.
in the river, Venom, the big blob of stuff that he is, hooks onto a fish, then a frog.
Right.
So, and they're all things.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Eddie, so they're all things of various sizes. So maybe the mass of the symbiote
Right.
adjusts itself to whatever its host is magically through whatever.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it's like one of those things. If like 1% of Venom is still there, it can recreate itself. It's it's not a one host being. So that's how Eddie gets Venom back for the sequel. That whether it's in Kraven the Hunter 2 or whatever Sony movie that they do, it's not hard to get back a Venom character. I like how Tom Hardy was saying prior to the film coming out, oh yeah, I think this is my last one. And then once he saw this one made some money, he's like, well, you know what? I could do one more. Like, he just complete sold out actor, just completely showed his cards. I thought it was funny. But, where they go from here, I got a feeling this may have something to do with and I know this is Disney Marvel, but I'd be shocked if this doesn't affect Secret Wars somehow. Like, I would be really amazed. I mean, I think everybody wants to see Tom Holland with the symbiote, right? What better way? I mean, and there's already like a piece of the symbiote in that universe, I believe, after one of the Marvel, was it, which movie did that happen? I can't even remember. But there's a piece of Venom over there.
Went back, didn't
was it No Way Home? Yeah, there was like one piece that got collected or whatever. So I would be shocked if this is not included, even in a minuscule part of the Secret Wars or whatever. As far as what Sony does with it, I don't think Sony knows what they're going to do with it, because they go from a Madam Web movie to a Kraven the Hunter to they're doing a Spider-Man noir television show. I saw filming pictures for the other day on X. Is that in the same universe? I don't even know. I have no idea. How all this connects, who knows?
Back, baby.
I'm not sure the Sony executives know what they're going to do next. Actually, so it's all speculation at this point.
There you go. Nicolas Cage was Ghost Rider, and now he's also Spider-Man Noir. So again, same actors.
You know what?
You know what?
Nicolas Cage should be in everything.
Well,
that man is a national treasure. Okay, he should. I know we don't. I know I did that on purpose. By the way, I know we don't saint people in the United States, but I would nominate Nicolas Cage because the Cage Rage, man. It's the Cage Rage. How can you get away from it?
He's saying Nicolas.
Who knows what Sony's going to? Sony don't know what Sony's going to do. So good freaking luck figuring it out.
Well, here's the questions I'm left with. Obviously, things end the way they end for Eddie and Venom. So I can see right now where that's over. Here's the questions that are left. She's out there in the world somewhere. It doesn't say whether she lives or dies, whether the symbiote runs away from her to hide. She's out there somewhere. Okay. We have this is the symbiote that was left behind by Eddie when he was sucked back into his universe. A lot of people thought that when they saw this scene in the trailer, that was undoing that scene, and they got mad. If you've seen the movie, you'll know that this actually takes place in Venom's universe. And that is not this splodge of glue that was left behind in Earth 616, which is the MCU. Mm-hmm. So, that said, Tom Hardy has said, this is according to him, his direct quote from him, that while he is absolutely done with the standalone Venom movies, that he would be willing to return if he could interact with Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Right.
So, that's out there. They have come out and said that Null is going to be in the Sony Spider-Man universe moving forward. So we have not seen the last of Null. Something else that has dropped in the last 48 hours. According to Tom Holland, Spider-Man 4 is going to start shooting this spring for a 2026 release date. All that being said, we're good. I don't know what we're going to see. If we're going to see, Null obviously exists in the we don't know what Spider-Man, if Spider-Man exists for one, or what Spider-Man exists in his universe. The one little splotch of symbiote goo that was left behind in the 616 is not well, I mean, technically I guess it's from Null. It was created by Null, but apparently symbiotes do not exist in that universe. However, clearly because he can open these dimensional portals, whatever, Null can. Maybe just the fact that this little bit of goo that was left in the 616 attaches to somebody can turn him on to the idea like, oh, this dimension over here, there's a thing. Maybe I can get the codex through him, which is the MacGuffin of this movie, in case we haven't mentioned it, by the way. So, I mean, who's to say that won't attract? Who's to say that won't attract Null to the 616? Again, questions, but doesn't answer the question of where is she? We know that she's in this universe. She's there, out there somewhere. Is there going to be a spin-off movie of hers? I certainly hope not, because I don't think they did a very good job introducing her in this movie.
Well, as Agony is a deep-cut Marvel character, if you came out 2 months from now, once all of the press and people forget about this movie, and if Sony announced Agony the movie, July 2027, everybody's going to go, huh? What's that? They're not. It doesn't have the name or the brand recognition of Spider-Man, Venom, Doctor Doom, whoever. Agony's not going to sell a movie. That character's not going to carry. Hell, I don't think that could get a Disney Plus show. But then again, they did give Agatha a freaking show, so apparently anybody can get anything these days.
Agatha's been kind of fun to watch. I'm not going to lie. Agatha hasn't been that bad. It's not nearly as good as WandaVision, but it's been pretty fun. Once you get past some of the stupid shit that happens in the first few episodes, it actually gets pretty good.
From what I saw, every wine ant loves the show, but not my deal. Either way, Agatha is not going to sell a movie. She could be a backup character. But if you want to do another symbiote story, you need Venom. What they should have done in this movie, they don't even have to have this character get the symbiote, but introduce Flash Thompson, the other person who is known for being Venom. Just have him be there in New York somewhere, or do something. Just introduce Flash Thompson and have him be your next Venom. If that way you're safe if Tom Hardy doesn't want to come back for a solo project, but you want to keep doing Venom, you put a cap on this trilogy. Now you can do a trilogy of Venom movies with Flash Thompson as Venom. But, something like that.
Yeah,
the slate is also wiped clean for Tom Holland. Like I said, he's now just kind of everyone forgot that he was Spider-Man. So now you have this symbiote left there. I'm like, well, okay. Okay, now we have
Casey. Why are you watching the spoiler review if you don't want to be spoiled? You're an
idiot. Okay, but now that I'm thinking, maybe that vial we saw that the little cockroach kind of like twitched its antenna at, given its close proximity, I'm just assuming, to the bartender walking out of that destroyed like cave in the ground. Maybe that was that bit of symbiote that, like I said, the general took, because he took that little bit of the black symbiote from the bar, which again is a separate one from the one we saw in Marvel's universe. So maybe that is the one that broke out. Like we said, now we have it loose in the Sony universe and in the Marvel universe. So we could, and both characters, like I said, have a clean slate to play with. So you could go some way with it. Like Frank said, Null is a pretty powerful bad, and I was like, well, we kind of just shoved Kang to the side. So I'm like, you could maybe do Null, because I'm like, I want to see Galactus, but I'm like, I don't think we'll go that big just yet. So I'm like, here's another big bad you could mess with, and bring in some symbiotes. I think it'd be fun, because like I said, I turned my mind off. I enjoyed the symbiote fight.
Hang on, wait, Jeremy.
That was cool.
I know the one villain that can solve all of this. They just bring in Mephisto. It's not like they haven't talked about him before. We just bring in Mephisto and have him be the new. He's literally the devil.
So I'm like, is he there?
I'm saying, let's just finally go there.
Mephisto has already been name dropped a couple of times in Agatha all along. He's supposed to be showing up at some point in the last 2 episodes, which are both dropped tomorrow. So I don't know if he's going to
There
play
you
a
go.
large. I doubt he's going to play a larger role in the MCU, but whatever.
Yeah,
He could be like a
there you go.
secondary. He could be like an Ultron or something if you want to just have him like a secondary kind of bad guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of unanswered questions that I don't necessarily know that I want the answer to. It's like, where is she? Well, I don't really care because you gave me 3 seconds of her right at the end. I didn't really get a chance to get invested in this character because you didn't build her up enough. And the other character, the girl standing behind her, she lost her symbiote, so it's not like she's going to be out there. The character lived, but the symbiote that attached itself to her was killed. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, Mulligan died, so there's no more Mulligan. You can't make him a part of it. I mean, I really the only one, if you want to stay in this universe and continue it somehow, this is your best bet. But you didn't do anything to really build her up. I mean, this is the best visual you get of her over the hour or 2 hour long movie, and it doesn't really accomplish anything other than looking cool. So I don't really know where you can go without having to have them in another movie that sets them up somehow. Which brings me again back to Spider-Man 4. We don't know what they're doing.
I know what I would like to see. I want to see Anti-Venom, the white version with the black accents. Yeah. You've done your Venom trilogy, and basically, now I don't know his exact power set, but he can absorb other symbiotes and basically kill them. I'm not up to date on every comic. You'll have to forgive me, but the Anti-Venom would be a good way to follow up the Venom trilogy, and you can even have Agony, fucking around in there or whatever. Who cares? That is whatever. But that's where I'd like to see him go with it. And it's not like they don't have the rights to the character. I mean, you just, you have Venom and Anti-Venom. And then maybe in the second or third Anti-Venom movie, Venom pops back up or some shit. I don't know. Whatever. It's a Sony superhero movie. They play fast and loose with the details. I mean, why not have some fun?
They certainly play fast with them. We'll get into the trivia now because I've managed to find a couple of decent ones, even though this movie's pretty new. The entire Venom trilogy takes place over the course of a year.
That surprised me whenever I heard that in this movie. I was like, are you kidding me? That is the most traumatic year that has ever happened to anybody. 3 massive events, just boom, boom, boom. I was surprised that's their time frame.
Yeah, because he does say as they're walking, I think it's as they're walking through the desert, it's like we've been together for a year.
Yeah, it's at the beginning of the movie. Yeah.
So it's like, so I'm thinking to myself, these 3 films all takes place over a year. It kind of makes sense because you figure if they'd been together for 5-6 years, that A, they would have figured out a way to coexist, and B, Venom wouldn't be so. One of the things that's fun about the Venom part of this character is that he's kind of naive. He's like a child. He's just playing around in this crazy new sandbox of Earth that he found, and he never really.
Is this right?
I think we did.
Thank you, froze.
Well,
there we go. Everybody screenshot Frank with that funny face pose and meme the shit out of him. Go nuts.
Somebody do your thing.
Do your thing, Twitter. Go nuts. Yeah, no, it's just to kind of hold down till it comes back. Yeah, the whole all 3 of these take place in the year. We know they're connected to the MCU. They commented about the 5-year blip in this movie. So where does this place this within that timeline? I mean, obviously it's in a different world, but is this like
6, right?
Well, yeah, the blip happened.
He was in the bar with.
Yeah, in the beginning of the movie, he's in the 616, and he talked, and because the bartender says, "Yeah, well, my family disappeared for 5 years," and then he vanishes. So, I'm just assuming here, but one universe has the same time frame as the next. So, does that mean that universe is 5 years later? And everything within Venom takes place. Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, I don't think they're
Yeah,
like
I don't know.
completely aligned. It's like, yeah, in this one that happened here, and it's been 5 years. But
Right.
in
Yeah.
that time, I think up to that point, it was a different path that bartender took. That he stepped on a leaf somewhere, and now all of a sudden he has long hair. Like, you know what I mean? So
Had dinosaurs or eating chalupas or something. Yeah. Like it'd be fucking weird. But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I said, I don't know for a fact that each of these universes, like one for one, on a linear straight path of time.
I don't think that.
But just for argument's sake, if they are, and all three of these movies take place within a calendar year, that would mean all of these movies. Well, because the bartender says, Sixon say that stupid trickster bastard's been fucking with shit. You know, it's making my brain.
He's getting bored. He's like tying knots in some of the strings and shit. Like, I don't know. It's also true.
See that if Marvel's smart, they just bring in Tom Hiddleston just to film him like manipulating stuff like obviously with CG, right? And then they could add in like timelines where Loki's moving stuff around, and they just put it in random movies, just for theory videos and stuff. That would be genius.
So we
got Frank back. There we go.
I was saying we need all three Toms in one movie. We need Tom Hiddleston, Tom Hardy, and fucking Tom Holland.
Right. Yeah. And when we get all three of those, we need to have Eddie Brock with Venom be like, Loki, we need, we need to have Venom tell Loki to cut the shit with the multiverse or whatever. Like, tell him to his face. That would be funny as well to say. But, whatever.
Yeah. Sorry. I forgot what the hell I was doing because I was trying to stretch out my leg and I hit my damn power cord.
You like froze up, and I was like, "Oh, Frank died." But we have to move on without him.
The cool thing is that I have my new computer set up, and I'm using it now, so I was able to get it a lot quicker than having to reboot my old piece of shit. But
oh, nice.
Yeah, so getting back in worked out a lot faster. But let's see.
Yeah, we held it down for you. It wasn't too
Yeah,
bad.
the villain name is Null. Null actually means to fuck in Swedish.
Oh, nice.
That's okay. Sure.
Nice.
If I ever go to Sweden, I mean, sure. Now I know.
Well, I have somebody. I have an expert I can ask about this. My girlfriend's nephew just married a girl from Sweden.
Hey.
And sweet.
Ask her how Midsummer was.
I've talked to her a little bit about like Swedish culture and language and stuff like that. So next time I see her, I'm going to ask an awkward question. I'm like, "What does null mean in Swedish?" She's going to look at me like, "What?"
That was the null.
And then I'll have to explain to her. Movie reference.
Sure. How many times did y'all know on the honeymoon? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm talking about a movie. I'm talking about the movies. What are you talking about? Do something like that. Yeah,
it's gonna be a hard sell. It's gonna be a hard sell because they got married like 4 months ago before the movie came out.
Wait, it's gonna be hard when they know each other. Is that really what you want to tell her whenever you have that conversation?
Well,
maybe.
We all need a good hard null every now and again. That's all I'm saying.
Clip it. We need that one.
You guys need to chill. Jesus. I swear, if like the day after you fuckers start texting me the word null like over and over, I'm gonna strangle both of you.
That's what's gonna happen. Everybody go on Twitter to find Jeremy. And on the 24th, after he
just blowing
up his Twitter, like no.
Instead of like, damn, I fucked that up. Be like, man, I know that up. So like, you know what you're saying, but nobody else knows what you're saying. There's another way to do it. I like that.
The kids don't know, but we know.
I like that. There you go.
We know.
I dig it.
Good. Expanding your vocabulary here in the harsh truth. Let's see. Venom tells Eddie several times in the course of this film that they are the lethal protector. This is the name of the 1993 comic storyline that introduced many of the symbiotes that are seen in the film's climax.
I knew about lethal protector. I was like, hey, there we go. That makes sense.
Yeah. But it's hard to take you serious as a lethal protector when you're prancing around the fucking ABBA. I mean, Jesus Christ, come on!
You're supposed to be you're supposed to be like an anti-hero. You're not really supposed to be good or bad. So I don't know.
Right, but I don't think you're not scary when you're prancing around like Elton John in a certain month of the year. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I did not like that scene. That really ruined this movie for me.
Let's see. Obviously, Tom Holland said that he and Amy Pascal had discussed him potentially reprising his role as Spider-Man in future Venom sequels. Now, I don't know exactly when these discussions took place. Could have been before Part 2. Could have been before this one. But you still have that tough task of explaining how one character in their universe ended up in Venom's universe.
Because I was thinking, like, what was the point of showing us again the fact that he was in 616 for a hot second, and then they pulled him back out? I'm like, I know that. Why did you show it to me again?
I think it was a bad idea because everybody hated it that they pulled him back. When they saw him get transported there, they were hoping that he was going to be in the MCU full time, and when they pull him right back, the next post credit scene, you're like, wait a minute, fuckers! But you see you leave a little blotch there, and that kind of makes you wonder. I don't know why they put that scene in there again because that scene angered so many people. I'm like, why are you putting it in there? It doesn't make any sense. It was a member berry. It was remember when this thing happened?
Yeah, we never forgot. The fuck?
I'd rather have Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire than any of those other options. But that's just me.
We all want the asshole Peter Parker back where he's just strutting down the street being a weirdo.
Bring back Emo Parker with the floof and the hair in the front. Yeah, bring him back. He was cool. I liked him. Yeah. We didn't know what we had back in the day. We were very spoiled. We didn't appreciate what we had. So
probably stepped on his cord again. So he needs to manage this a little better. He's learning how to be a PC person, guys. He's not learned cord management just yet, but he's learning now. That's right.
There's another memeable picture of put like I farted, over the top of him right there with that face. So that'd be fun. Well, but that's what I'm saying. I don't.
It works.
I really need to rearrange those cords.
It's good. It's good that like your PC does actually just get you the game here. So
it was precarious anyway, but I'm like, I just got to get everything plugged in so I can get to doing the stuff.
Maybe some like duct tape on the floor over the cord so it doesn't move or something.
No. I just plugged everything in haphazardly because I wanted to get everything up and running. I had to add some programs to this computer that I use in the regular, and I just wanted to get everything done so I could be ready for tonight. I want to have some stuff ready for the election stream next week, and I wasn't paying attention to the under the desk stuff. I will be fixing that over the course of the weekend.
As I told him, he's learning another important lesson of being a PC owner, and now it's cord management, which now that's strict too. Now we hit we're learning.
But I'm keeping my feet firmly tucked under my chair at this point for the rest of the show. But I love talking about potential casting, what could have been. I don't know what they could have cast him as, but Owen Wilson was approached for an unspecified role before Chiwetel Ejiofor was cast. I don't know if they were going to cast him as Strickland, but it just said he was approached.
Let's just make this more of a comedy. Yeah, that's a good idea. I don't like that.
Would have been a pretty funny, like hippie dad. That would have been pretty funny.
Well, yeah, maybe he was going to play the role that Rhys Ifans ended up playing.
Yeah,
but Owen Wilson, he's got surprisingly good range. He's done some drama movies that are really good before. What's the one that he did where he was the fighter pilot? Behind Enemy Lines.
Oh, Behind Enemy Lines.
Gene Hackman. That's a really good movie. He's definitely got some Owen Wilson kind of funny jabs in there, but it's not like Wedding Crashers or something like that. It's a much more serious kind of action adventure role. And I think he's actually quite good in that movie. I think that movie's pretty underrated. But
I mean, could you imagine like he could have rolled up to Area 51, saw an alien, and would have went, "Wow," like you're just in awe. And there you go, your obligatory wow from Owen Wilson.
Right.
Come on, just let him do it.
Yeah, why not? Even his presence, I think his presence would have caused. I mean, you've already got the other, Sorcerer Supreme in this movie. Why not bring in the head of the TVA agents as well? Why not? I mean, at this point, Marvel's cast so many actors. They're just repurposing stuff for different Marvel projects.
You maybe could have brought in the TVA and brought in Mobius. I'm like,
why not?
No. Well, for one, they don't exist in the same universe at all. So
but they for some reason
Deadpool works. Deadpool made it work. So yeah, Deadpool made it work. So maybe
out of all like space and time. So like,
you could. It wouldn't have been easy to work the TVA into this story because this story doesn't have anything to do with time.
No, but I'm saying it is a timeline that they are keeping an eye on.
It's a timeline, but it's not. The storyline did not revolve around time and the passage of time.
No, but I'm saying it is.
Deadpool and Wolverine did. Obviously, everything with Loki does. Some of this stuff does. This movie doesn't really have anything to do with time.
No, but
now the interdimensional stuff maybe, but not time.
Yeah, because like now don't we have a piece of symbiote in 616, which is supposed to be the sacred timeline. So now I'm like, was that supposed to happen? Maybe the TVA is like, whoa, now we got the symbiote in this world.
Think about what the TVA does, though. Go all the way back to Loki season 1. Well, because I think
stuff that's not supposed to happen.
I think but does it mean that the little drop of symbiote that is left in 616 wasn't supposed to happen? Because I think in season 1, Loki even asked them, what about these guys who went back in time to help defeat Thanos? And I think they very specifically said that was supposed to happen. That's part of the sacred timeline.
How do we know that was supposed to happen? Like maybe that isn't, then that could be your, that's something that could be your bridge to now bring that in. It's like, I don't know if that is supposed to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is if the TVA is looking at this, they're looking at this other little splodge of venom goo that's there, and they're saying that's supposed to happen. That was supposed to go from one thing that gets out of line, though. So they're not going to get involved.
They're supposed to keep that timeline absolutely pristine. So I'm like, I don't know if that's supposed to happen.
But apparently it is supposed to happen. That's why they don't intervene. That little splotch of it was supposed to be left there. That's the explanation that they make very clear when he asks about why didn't you go after the Avengers for going back in time? Because they were supposed to. That was supposed to happen.
That's your door.
So,
or I guess Loki now is technically
that could be the door to either go or not go. And for the purpose of this story, they chose to not go. They're trying to say that this is supposed to happen in the sacred timeline.
Okay.
It's almost like this multiverse stuff is more convoluted than it's worth.
Why do you think I hate it?
2-minute conversation.
Why do you think I hate it?
I think it's fun. It's interesting because
that's why
we don't get to see shit that we would normally get to see. Like you got to see Henry Cavill as fucking Wolverine, and you all creamed your pants, your special sock, you nerd, and you were happy about it.
Oh no! Hey, the Wolverine is the only man who could replace Hugh Jackman and be superior. And I stand on those words, sir. So the Cavalry will reign supreme.
So he went from the Man of Steel to the Man of Adamantium. I'm just saying.
It did.
Hey, why not? What? It's not like he's doing anything in DC. The man needs a job. Hire him, Marvel. Get it done.
It was reported last week that the representatives of Henry Cavill have talked with representatives of Marvel very recently.
Yes.
Wait. So past Wolverine and Deadpool.
Wolverine and Deadpool.
How could you not want to see the Cavalry? He looks more badass in that one scene than do it. Let's go. Full on rated R Cavalry. Hell yeah, I'm down.
Honestly. I agree with Deadpool. Oh, we treat you so much better.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those dick bags up the street.
Right.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, look, whatever happens.
Casting's easy.
Whatever's along for the ride.
Keep it simple, stupid. It instead of like taking a chance on the next, star. Hey, Henry Cavill, the man's been screwed over how many times? He deserves it. Just give it to him. Jesus.
And the joke was that he grew his beard out and all he did shave was his mustache. I'm like, well, that's kind of all you have to do. So. Like, you take a jab at Superman.
Well, Superman. If Superman has a mustache, it's going to cost him $100 million. By God, so that can't ever happen again. So.
I love how people made a big deal out of nothing. They were just like, it costs like 15 minutes of CGI time to actually to take out the mustache. Right. It was only a big deal to fans. The producers didn't really give a shit. But let's see a little bit more about Null. Let's see. The film features Null, the King in Black of the symbiotes, who was introduced to the source material very recently, just in 2018. The filmmakers were always kept aware of the character, but decided they had to lay the foundations for Venom's character and his relationship with Eddie Brock before featuring this particular Marvel supervillain.
Well, yeah, because you have like a symbiote, and you're like, hey, so you know who created the symbiotes? This guy. So, yeah, kind of start small and build up to it. You're like, oh, there is a place this came from.
The other thing you have to, well, I mean, for the comic book nerds, this is where the nerds go, well, actually, my best Casey impression, the sword that Gore, the God Butcher, uses in Thor: Love and Thunder, the Necromancer sword, I think is what it's called. Yeah. In the comic books, that sword was created by Null. Now, obviously, it's not going to be the case in the movies, but so there is a connection. So there's little bits that they've pulled from Null already.
So we bring over Christian Bale, have him play Gore again, and then give that mother. Could you imagine a pissed off Christian Bale with a symbiote? Nobody's safe at that point. The whole world's going to die. I am so down for that movie. Hell yeah.
Not just Gore the God Butcher.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like give Gore the God Butcher a Venom symbiote. Forget, Eddie, or Brock or whoever. Give it to freaking Christian Bale and have him mess some people up. I'm down for that.
That could be fun,
dude. Yeah.
Tex already alluded to how annoyed he was by this. Unlike the comic inspiration of Agony, this version of Agony in the movie had super speed ability as well, which is not the case in the comic book.
Yeah,
I was like, about her brother dying. I was like, oh, okay, the lightning thing is part of her story. I'm like, okay, but no. It looks cool as hell.
I'm okay.
I don't like when a movie says, we're going to do this version or we're going to do this character, and they announce it, and then the product that you see is just similar enough to recognize, but realistically it's nothing like.
That's every movie based on an existing IP.
Yeah.
Oh no, I get it. But it's different when
give her something cool, I guess. Like give her a little more oomph. Like give her the
but I don't know. To me, if you can play that fast and loose, okay, let's say you want a symbiote that has lightning powers. Make one. If you have creative license, don't take from another character. Create new. And then you just like Harley Quinn was created for Batman the Animated Series. Boom, look what happened. A whole career for many people came out of that. Create a new symbiote with lightning powers. It's just, to me, that's my comic book nerd being purist about it. I don't like when they do that. It kind of drives me crazy a little bit.
Let's see. I got one last piece of trivia left, and I'll go to Tex's favorite shots to give it to you.
Oh, God.
In an establishing
shot, can we watch a Jamie Lee Curtis movie instead, please?
You know what? I'm going to do? I'm going to take this picture right here, and I'm going to put Jamie Lee Curtis's face over Miss Karen, and I'm going to put Tex's face over Venom. And that's going to be that's going to be the movie because I'm still this weekend. I'm going to figure out the thing that Alex sent us about Casey and the Have You Seen My Wiener. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to make that and I'll put it out there. And every time you say something stupid, I'll be like, "Remember this? Remember this?" Just like Cora and her squirrel moment, just like Cora and her squirrel moment thing that I have. This is going to be yours.
Hey, know ahead of time. I've already been sent the perfect screenshot of your stupid ass looking face on the first freeze frame you did on this episode. I can do major damage with that one too. If you want to go nuclear, my friend, I'm more than willing to meet you on the battlefield. So,
and I will.
You do your worst.
And I will tweet it to Jamie Lee Curtis and be like, "Please autograph."
Oh God!
Right away. but as I said,
there you go.
In the establishing shot of Las Vegas, you can see the Spear, a structure completed and opened in 2023. However, in the movie, Eddie mentions that he and Venom had only been together for a year. The first Venom movie takes place in 2018, so that makes this movie take place in 2019, which would be 4 years before the Spear even existed.
Well,
see, Jeremy and I were actually just having this conversation while you were gone for the second time about, obviously they mentioned the blip from the 616 universe at the 5-year gap, because the bartender says, well, my family was gone for 5 years. So that would put that at the end of that timeline. They say in this film, back in Venom's universe, that he has had the symbiote for a year. So what year does the blip take place in? Like, okay, the two timelines, I don't think they're linear one for one.
It doesn't
like,
matter. It doesn't matter.
There's some questions about
it. It doesn't matter because they're in different universes. So the blips that
Same, like,
happen in
things
616,
right, but you get what I'm saying now.
In the words of Doctor Who, it's all wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
When the guy who says that was the guy that was in 616, and that's before Eddie gets
that's what I'm
back
saying.
to his time. So the blip doesn't really matter to Eddie's timeline because it was in a whole different universe. The blip.
You're talking about some big purple alien. He's like, what?
The snap didn't affect his universe. That's why Eddie's having to have it all explained to him. Whereas everybody else in this world has had it figured out because they've known about it for 5 years. Yeah. But Eddie is like, he literally just got to this universe 3 beers ago. So he is completely doesn't know the Avengers, doesn't know anything about any of that stuff.
Kind of like
So when he hears the Avengers, he's like, "Is that a band? Are you in a band?"
It's just like the Spider-Man's all talking. He's like, "Oh, I fought an alien once, I think," and then Tom Holland's like, "Oh, I fought an alien on Earth and in space," and they're both like, "What?
You been to space?
Right, you went to space?" Yeah. So, yeah. Different things. He's like, "I fought a guy in a rhino suit, like a mechanical suit. I think that was something." Yeah, sure was, man.
That's my claim to fame, not just being Spider-Man, but I fought a guy who was in a big rhino suit.
Some Russian guy in a fucking rhino suit.
But that's all.
The guy looks like Batman, but in a vulture costume. But whatever. Nope.
He looks kind of like Batman. He looks like the guy that played Batman in that movie that one time.
Right.
Well, it's not like there hadn't been like 15 other people that played Batman, so what's one more amongst friends?
True.
Why the hell not?
You know what they should have had in that movie? They should have had like in Last Action Hero where they had the Terminator 2 poster, but it was Sylvester Stallone's face.
Stallone.
They could have had him walking by like a Batman poster, and it would have been like Val Kilmer. He'd have been like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, that would have been funny.
Not Clooney. No, not Clooney.
You pitched Clooney. God damn it.
That could have been funny. That'd have been a funny little deep.
I mean, like I said, we know Kilmer can't really speak. I'm like, you don't have to have him just have him walk by and just kind of nod at him, just acknowledgement. And I'm like, yeah, that could have been it. That could have loved it. Yeah, that's all the trivia I got. That seems like a good place to start wrapping this up. I think Tex is done talking about this movie anyway. He's all danced out.
Yeah, Tex, give me your final thoughts on Venom: The Last Dance.
Well,
take off your dancing shoes.
I think it's safe to say that I'm null and void with any liking of this movie. I went there. It wasn't a good pun. It didn't get the reaction I was hoping for, but I tried. Not all of them land. It's all good.
Your Nicolas Cage one was good. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I did get the Cage one in, so I'm good for the week. I'm fine. It's a fine movie, I guess, until you get to that stupid dancing scene. Jesus Christ, that killed this movie for me. I know it's trivial and whatever. I don't like Tom Hardy, how he plays Venom, or how he plays Eddie Brock, I guess. Venom is not supposed to be that funny. I don't need to see you dance. If you're going to be the lethal protector, go be a rated R lethal protector, not what you did. I don't like this movie. I'm glad I didn't have to pay for this, and I just used one of my weekly AMC stubs for this. Otherwise, I would have sailed the high seas. I won't even lie to you, but I can't recommend you watching this movie. This thing sucks. So maybe somebody else talk who's not as negative as me. All good.
Jay, give me your final thoughts on Venom: The Last Dance.
Like I said, I enjoyed it kind of expanding more on these symbiotes that are out there. The ones that didn't get wood chipped out of existence. So yeah, like I said, I did the movie thing and just turned my brain off and just enjoyed the whole fight of them versus these aliens that Null sent. It was just kind of fun. I'm like, the action bits were pretty fun. We made up a BS MacGuffin in the third movie that was totally there the whole time, even though it wasn't, but whatever. Glad you flashed back to the first movie that I didn't see, that I'm like, oh, okay, I guess he died and he came back. Okay. I wouldn't have remembered anyway if it happened in the second one. I was very excited to see Carnage, and I was kind of like, it's kind of mid. I was like, okay, Woody Harrelson, it's an interesting choice, but I just wanted to see Carnage. I was surprised by Agony. That was interesting. So I don't know. I think we got some legs to go somewhere with this, and I hope something happens here because again, I feel like there was. I don't think it was a malicious turn of the knife again. If you've twisted about 3 times, I had to watch Tom Hardy go back from 616 without there being a reason for it, because that didn't really remind me of anything other than the fact that you did that in the first place. So if you keep calling back to it, maybe there's a reason why we're bouncing back and forth between this so-called sacred timeline and then Sony's. So I don't know. You've clean slated everybody, so maybe there's somewhere to go with it. And like I said, I enjoyed the ride getting there. Or I'm sorry, the dance. The final dance there. And bow. There you go.
Yeah, for me, it was the movie was a collection of really great moments that did not come together in a great overall picture. You know what I mean? It's like, like I said, it's a dancing scene. I thought it was fun. I thought it was kind of the kind of moment I would expect Venom to want to have. So it was a fun moment in and of itself. Where does it help the movie? It doesn't. Where does it fit into the movie? It doesn't. It's a lot of really cool aspects that don't really cohese into one great overarching story for a film. It's kind of disappointing like that. Was there opportunities for it to come together? Oh yeah, there was plenty. Did they actually connect any of this shit together? No, not in a way that I would have liked to have seen it done. Will it get any better on a second viewing? I doubt it. I mean, I may end up going back because my youngest son was supposed to go see it over the weekend and didn't, so he was talking about going to see it this weekend. I may go back and see it so I can look at some background stuff and try to pick some things out that I couldn't quite see when I was watching it the first time. But I really don't imagine that it's going to change much of the way I feel about the movie. Again, really great moments, really great scenes, not put together in an overall very flattering film. Not in my opinion. But maybe it's one of those films that over time I'll learn to appreciate a bit differently. There have been several, but right now, after one viewing a couple of days ago, I can't say that I was all that impressed by it. And there's Noel right there, Noel's baby brother.
No, we are Vecna, not Venom. Vecna's better than Venom. So.
Well,
it's all good.
Well, we are coming up on the Stranger Things final season, so we'll probably be breaking that down as much as we can as well.
How bad do I sound, by the way? This sounds echoey as fucking that mask, by the way.
Yeah, it sounds bad.
You sound a bit muffled, but if you had to do that for an entire stream, I think it would be bad. maybe get like a lapel mic like I have and put it kind of underneath. I don't know if that would work or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I can put it like right under here or something.
I don't know. Maybe. But
yeah.
It's hot.
But tell Jeremy how hot that is. How much latex has he had splattered all over his face from one day to the next?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And you only get the latex on your face by knowing the fuck out of each other. Oh, good.
Yeah, I know the fuck out of my beard doing those saw streams because I forgot to shave my face when I was coughing, and I was like, "Oh crap! I have to pull this." Like
Jeremy knolled himself so hard he walked funny the next day. That's how hard he knolled himself.
I played myself on that one. That was so stupid.
But yeah, I mean, who was it earlier in the comments? Was it? Let's see. I think it was AJ. He says, "Is Venom 3 worth watching?" Look, I would say every movie is worth watching at least once.
Yeah, have your own opinion.
I mean, look, don't listen to us. We're just a bunch of dumb assholes talking about movies on the internet. There are movies that I like that Tex doesn't. There are movies that Tex likes that Jeremy doesn't, and Jeremy likes that I don't. I mean, all over the place. Dude, movies are a form of art. Art is subjective. Go see a movie. Give it a fair shake. If you walk out of the theater and you have problems with it, fine. You've watched the movie. If you walk out of the theater and you loved it, great. There's another movie that is out there in the world that you enjoy. Go watch a movie. Never listen to what anybody else says. Now, there are times, like I haven't gotten around to seeing Joker 2 yet because the reviews have been so bad. I'm going to sit and watch the movie. I'll eventually sit and watch Barbie. I'm not in a big rush, but I'll eventually sit and watch Barbie.
I mean,
But
I
at the
even
same
went out and
time,
watched
watch the movie.
Borderlands and how bad that was. And no, it was bad. So I can tell you with certainty it was actually
give a movie a fair shake. You may like a movie that we don't like. And if you like it, that's fantastic. Movies are art. Art is subjective. Go enjoy art. That's what I want you to do. But we're going to go ahead and wrap things up there. I think we've talked as much as we can about this movie. Hopefully, Kraven, Jeremy, real quick, what are your expectations of Kraven? Now that's the next one up for the Sony Spider-Man universe, the SSU. I said earlier that this movie was going to greatly impact the expectations of Kraven. What do you think you're going to get from Kraven now here in about 8-9 weeks, whenever it comes out?
I don't know. Like mine had a preview for Kraven, and I'm like, well, this looks kind of badass. It looks like fun. I don't know. I'll still see it because excuse me, because I'm curious as to again what they all tie together somehow, or it's all gonna mean something. So I think it's an interesting character to go see. I'll watch it and trying to remember how many times I saw Russell Crowe as Zeus talking about orgies when the point had already long passed. So I don't know. I'll again, like we just said, I'll give it a fair shake. I'm just kind of interested to see this new character come out. So
I don't know. Tex, what do you think? Again, after this movie, you're not the only one disappointed in this movie. Let's be honest. We've all read the reviews at this point. Now that this movie has come and gone, Kraven the Hunter is the next one up. This movie was going to have a big impact on the expectations for that movie. We're going to review it when it comes out. What do you think you're going to get when you walk into the theater?
I can't wait to see Superman's dad raise Quicksilver. That's going to be fun to watch.
You didn't see that coming?
No, I don't. I kind of. I'm going in with less than zero expectation, hoping for a fun action movie. To be honest with you, the really one and only thing I'm interested in seeing in this film is how they handle the character of Rhino. He's one of my favorite Marvel villains. And I like that they're going with a more like a biological look with Rhino than, mechanical suit. So that's realistically the only thing that interests me with this movie. And, I little to no hopes and just hope it's fine. Just no dance scenes will be good. It can't get any worse. So there's one plus. So it's all good.
We've
reached the bottom. So there you go.
Yeah, look, hope springs eternal. I'm gonna go see it, hoping that it's good. My expectations, I'm gonna leave them at the door, like I try to do with most movies. I want it to be good. The trailers haven't been half bad. I'm certainly a fan of the actors that are in it. Like Tex, I'm kind of interested to see how they're going to do Rhino. We've only ever really gotten mechanical versions of him on this in live action. So having this more biological version of him is going to be interesting to see how they do that. But I got to be honest, man, Sony is they're bricking so bad with this fucking Spider-Man universe.
The best thing Sony can do is sell. And I hate Disney with a passion. But let their Marvel stuff go back to the rest of Marvel. They're not doing good with it. It's not good.
Well, one of the reasons why, and I'd read something about this today. One of the reasons why Sony is trying really hard to get Spider-Man 4 made is because they have to be in production by a certain date, or the rights revert back to Marvel, and they have to release it by a certain date, or the rights revert back to Marvel.
Yeah, shit.
So then Disney would just be like, "Fuck you, we're not doing it."
Well, but the problem is they are also attached to the quality of the film. So you don't want them to rush out a film that sucks because it's going to hurt the Spider-Man that they want to use moving forward. Because the Spider-Man that they're using right now is the Spider-Man that exists in the MCU. So if you make that character suck, then all of a sudden you got to suddenly make up for a character that sucks, which Disney and Marvel is not in a position to have to fuck with right now because they're having problems of their own. Iger's putting things back together. I'm a little more confident within the next couple of years he's going to bring for Marvel, but they're not out of the woods yet. and you don't want to let them screw it up or allow, or be a part of them screwing it up and then get the rights back and be like, okay, now we have to spend time fixing this character's perception, which they don't want to do because they're too busy fixing their perception of all the other characters they've fucked with in the last 3 or 4 years. So,
that's what I'm saying.
So I mean,
it's not like Disney Marvel has done better. So
it behooves both Marvel and Sony if these movies are successful. So I mean, like I said, hope springs eternal. I want the movie to be good. I'm going to go in there hoping to see a good movie. I'm not going to expect anything. I'm leaving those expectations at the door. I'm not going to speculate. All I know is the trailers have looked pretty good. The first was really good. The trailer that I saw in front of this movie, in front of Venom, The Last Dance, I thought was pretty good trailer. So, I mean, I'm going to go in there and hope it's a good movie. I'm going to go see it because if it's great, awesome. Then maybe that's the first step on the road to better creative success. If it sucks, then I don't know what the hell to tell Sony at this point. I mean, after Morbius tanks the way it did, after Madam Web was just a debacle, after this movie so badly underperforms and creatively has a lot of problems, if they drop the ball that badly with Kraven, I would honestly just be like, you know what, we're done. We're just going to go ahead and make Spider-Man movies in conjunction with Marvel. We're going to make our money off those and fuck everything else. They can't do anything away from Marvel without dropping the ball, so screw it. Just stick with Spider-Man and have fun with it. Let Spider-Man be your moneymaker. But that's the best they can do. But thanks to my co-host for being so amazing. As always, my Header Life mate Jeremy, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
Back up on the surface with the surface dwellers. So yeah. Yeah, the haunt season's over, so that doesn't mean I still have any time because, as I mentioned, getting married in less than a month, so we're down to crunch time now. So
there you go.
If I disappear for like 2 years after December, we'll know why. But so I'm here, and I think Frank, you got me intrigued with the fact that you got a somewhat of a PC now, and I'm thinking to myself like, I could do that. Maybe that'd be a lot easier than a laptop and a monitor.
I've already jumped on Steam and downloaded a game that I used to play like 20 years ago, and I've been playing the fuck out of that for the last couple of days. So
there you go.
I've been on a hype train of a game that I was playing a while ago that I haven't played in a while. And you know what? I'll even vet it a little bit here. Like, if no one's played Generation Zero, it's kind of an interesting game because, in fact, you know what? If you want alternate history stuff, it's kind of fun. Imagine an alternate 1980s Sweden. I know you're freaking the fuck out because we said Sweden again. It all comes back. But say you went on a trip with your friends, you pass out, you wake up, and then you come to find out that your homeland's been invaded by a bunch of these robots. Where did they come from? Did it come from the Russians? It's the Cold War. Yes, it came from the fucking Russians. That never changes. So now you got to figure out where these damn robots came from and how to. And it's like I said, it's very nostalgic 1980s stuff. There's emotes, costumes, and stuff that are obviously all stuff from popular pop culture things from the 80s. The soundtrack is awesome. The menu music is sweet. The guns are fun. The environment's really sweet, and you can play with 2 of your friends. So yeah, and to just don't get overtaken by robots from Russia that was seriously washed up on the beach somewhere. It's a fun game. I would recommend checking it out. Yeah, I guess. Well, it's in Sweden, but yeah, these Soviet robots are going to come after you. Yeah, it's a fun game. So I've been filling my time with that.
And the shape for Lone Star State, my man Tex, where can the folks at home find you, sir?
Well, you will find me neck deep in the mythology of one Michael Myers. I can successfully say, now, I haven't been able to watch one movie per day for my 31 for 31, but I have caught up to where I've watched every film scheduled. Now all that's left is to finally bask in that Halloween goodness. And if you have time to watch all of the Halloween films, I would, well, not all of them, skip 5, Resurrection, that Ends movie that people keep talking about. I don't know. I've heard it's no good.
You mean that one?
There's certain ones I was.
This movie.
Oh yeah, I would actually. Yeah, I would rather watch Halloween Ends than this movie. I would watch that. But my 4 favorite Halloween films: Halloween 4, Halloween Kills, and the 2 Rob Zombie films. I adore each and every one of those movies. We have just a couple days till Halloween. Jump in there, put your clown mask on and go kill your sister, and then go be in a nut house for 15 years and do the thing. So just go watch Michael Myers movies, man. This is what it's what this season is for. I purposely saved the Halloween Michael Myers films for October just to make them even more special. So bask in their glory. It's all good.
Yeah, as for me, you can find me back here. I don't know. I'll confer with you guys. I wasn't planning on doing anything on Thursday because that's Halloween. I don't know what your guys' plans are.
I won't be home on Halloween.
Like, oh crap! I hope we don't, because I want stuff. I won't be
I
here.
Will. I'm not going to stake these guys to anything. I may go live for a while and do like an election prediction thing. Go over the electoral map, some stories. I may do that for a little while on Thursday. But it's not going to be a review. I'll probably go. Well, because when we go live, like mine, Jeremy's time, I think Trick or Treat's going to be over by then. Because I think it's like 6 to 8. I'm not gonna stake anybody who's going live on Halloween night. It seems like
I won't be.
It seems like 15 minutes to come in here.
It seems like the last couple of Halloweens have all fallen on a streaming night, which is kind of annoying. So I don't know. Maybe next year we'll get lucky. I haven't looked at next year's calendar, but I mean. Maybe next year we'll get lucky to fall on a Wednesday or some shit. But so
we'll be back as President Loki for the election stream.
But we will most definitely be doing more of the scary content into November. I was hoping to do a couple of political movies in the lead up to the election, but I did not want to not do scary stuff over Halloween. October needs to be for scary stuff. That just needs to be. I've got these 2 guys available to me to talk about all the good horror stuff, the stories and the visuals, the kills, the blood and gore. Why would I not want to talk about that kind of stuff when I have guys available?
Even Venom 3 was frightening. Did you see that dancing scene? I was scared to death. That scared the piss out of me watching that damn thing. So that was, that's even a scary movie. There you go.
We all know that Tex closed his eyes and dreamed about dancing around to ABBA with Jamie Lee Curtis. We all with his heart in one of her hands and a glass of Activia in another. He was falling in love. We all know that.
No, give me a chainsaw in one hand and a flamethrower in the other. I'll take
we
that
all know it. But like I said, I'm not sure exactly what Thursday's stream is going to look like, or even that I'm going to do one for sure. But if I do, it'll probably be some preview to the election stream. We'll get some talk in. I'm trying to figure out a way for people to call in, but the way that I was going to do it, that way just kind of fell apart. There was an app called Call In that got bought by Rumble, and Rumble almost immediately just destroyed it. It doesn't even work now, so that's not an option. I haven't been on Discord and I don't know how long. That's why I haven't been like pushing the Discord. So I mean, if you want to follow us on Discord, the link is in the description. I might try to do something with that later on down the line. I don't know if we'll be able to get anything together by the time the election rolls around on Tuesday. But what I may do is I may just throw an invite to StreamYard in the description and bring in people for like 5 minutes at a time, let them do it like that. So maybe I'll do something like that, just try to make it a little more interactive. But yes, I will be back here on Thursday for at least a little while, giving you my predictions, some possibilities of how things could go on Tuesday. And then Tuesday, probably about the same time, 8:15. That's when we're going to start getting some of the big returns from the East Coast. That's probably when I'll go live. And I will go until at least probably 1 or 2 in the morning. That's going to be a long stream. Or at least until they call the winner. I'm 50-50 as to whether they call the winner on election night. It's going to depend on about that. It's going to depend on some shit.
No, they're not Coast,
but we'll see. I'm not anticipating having a winner unless some crazy things happen on the East Coast, which I think are possible. I will go into those my predictions for what could happen and what I think will happen on Thursday. But there are some things that could happen on the East Coast that could make us call this thing by 10 o'clock. It could conceivably happen, maybe. But that's a pretty I think
it'll be decided.
It's pretty tall order.
This election will be decided in a courtroom, not by votes. But That's my little short version.
It's exactly what I don't want to see happen, but that's the age that we live in, unfortunately. But I want to thank my co-host for coming out here and being awesome as usual. Again, I will pop on probably Thursday for an hour or so stuff, and then Tuesday, big election stream. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the shit that YouTubers tell you to do. Help us spread the channel. YouTube does nothing to help us out. Don't forget, I'll e-beg a little bit. Stream Elements, the link in the description below if you want to support the channel financially. We appreciate that. Maybe we'll buy a real computer for Tex so he can so he can actually do some real stuff. But we will see you guys.
Oh, shit.
We will see you guys next time. Till then, adios.
Know this movie. This movie, know it sucks.
This movie did not null hard.
It's no Honda Odyssey, that's for sure.
This movie told every fan to go know themselves is what this movie said.
I would say this director, while not a bad job, kind of nulled the pooch, don't you think?
The director of this movie is a knowing idiot. She don't know what she's doing. Get this woman